Skins are running out of chances to string back-to-back wins together this year, but will take today's victory at Chicago's Soldier Field anyway. Washington never lost the lead today, but it did vary in size from as much as 14 points to as little as 0. But again, no one needed a blowout, and most will gladly settle for the team's first road win all season. As a side note, they're the last team to accomplish that simple feat. Lots to talk about, as always, in this one, including Matt Jones and Jordan Reed's strange catch-fumble recovery, and Deshaun Jackson's ever-fragile rubber band hamstrings. So don't touch that back button. We'll be right back on the Hogstyle.
It's the Hogstyle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Hogstyle post-win podcast. Happy to be with you today. My name is Sean Conte. I got Alex Zeese here helping me celebrate.
Hey, how's it going, Sean?
Good. Mr. Steve Thomas.
Yay, a win. Thank goodness.
A win indeed. So we got lots to talk about in this one, but maybe first off, we should just put this up right off the bat. The Eagles won today. The Giants are playing tomorrow. The Cowboys are playing right now. So, but we got the win that we needed, so still chances very much alive this season.
Well, it means we're still the division leader.
That's right. At 6-7. Right?
The division, I don't even care. All we need to do is focus on the Redskins. The Redskins need to take care of business, win the game. This, tiebreaker thing in Week 14 or 13 doesn't really matter.
A lot could still
change. They haven't played the same number of division games.
Sure.
Just the Redskins need to forget it, and the fans also need to forget all about that. Let's focus on getting the wins that this team needs, and everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, if we win out, we're fine. That's the key.
Yeah. Don't go chasing division records and everything when the season isn't over.
See, the entertainment value of it, to me, is higher than that. It's not like I expect us to go anywhere in the playoffs. I'm just tickled to death that as a sub 500 team, we're still not only alive, but in the first spot. I mean, I know
the division is just so awful.
I know, it's hilarious, and we had a lot of things that didn't look good today, I thought, and that underscored the point that we're not a division leading team.
Alex scolded me for this, off the air before we went on, but I'm going to say it anyway. This game was a battle of teams trying their hardest to lose.
Yeah.
And, the Bears just tried a little bit harder to give the game away than we did, and that's why we went. If I was a Bears fan, I would be so mad right now.
Yeah.
All those penalties were just like death penalties.
Yeah.
The ridiculous circus catch, thing there with Jones and Reed.
Pure luck.
The awful Cousins interception, which is just got awful. But somehow this team found a way to win.
Yep.
Through all that, I'll take a Robbie Gould missed field goal, which wasn't just a missed field; it was a terrible attempt.
Yeah, I mean,
but all that,
Never
they did.
Was it the rain with that? I mean, is it the wet ground?
It could be a lot of factors.
But he had the same problem last week, as I recall.
Yeah,
he lost in the game.
He missed 2 kicks. Yeah.
Man.
But the bottom line is, we did just barely enough to win, and
That's right.
it doesn't really matter if it was a 40-point victory or 1-point victory or what. The point is, a win is a win.
That's right.
That's it.
So,
what I was scolding you for, Steve, was you were saying, it was an ugly game, and I thought that was a highly entertaining game. So, I'm never going to complain. I thought that was a game that had a lot of, back and forth to it.
It's true.
To me, that's kind of that's the kind of football that we should be expecting from this team at this point. We're not going to blow anybody out. This is a solid, entertaining game for a win. It's so much better than a game like last week.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I mean, that's not to say it wasn't a fun game to watch. There were moments it came down to the end. The game was in doubt until the very, bitter end of the game. But the point is, neither team executed very well.
That's right.
It shows why these teams are both sub 500 teams. The Bears are just a weird team at home. It's like they just don't execute very well at home.
They have the opposite of our problems. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay Cutler was kind of picking our zone defense apart there for a good bit of the game.
He was.
Somehow none of it mattered. They made just enough mistakes at the right time to kill at least 3 drives.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of it seemed to me a lot of coaches on both sides adjusting for one another back and forth.
Yeah.
And both on offensive and defensive sides of the ball.
Right.
I got that vibe pretty quickly that it was like every 2 drives, one side was figuring something out, and the other side had to adjust.
Well, if you guys noticed, I'm sorry, Sean, but if you guys noticed, the Redskins' game plan at the beginning of the game was a little different than the normal.
I love that. I love that first drive, that 15-play
Well,
drive.
the Bears weren't expecting what we did.
Yeah.
We didn't. It wasn't the Jay Gruden. I have absolutely no imagination whatsoever. Handoff, screen pass, punt, thing. And if the screen pass works, we get another series. They
Right.
Kirk had that rollout. The off play action in that first drive. They mixed it up a little bit, and I really think the Bears were just kind of off balance because they've seen what we've done all year, which is, blah.
Well,
and they adjusted for that, and I thought our play calling got a little bit more standard Redskins non-creative there, as the game went along, but it started off really well.
But then we adjusted our offense again later, and that's how we scored in the third quarter. We had adjusted, and that's what I mean. There were adjustments made by both sides. Both coaching staffs are probably pretty even if you look at them, from a coaching X's and O's perspective. John Fox, he's a good coach, more seasoned than Jay Gruden, but he's never been a, genius in any sense of offensive
Well, he
mastermind.
got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he did it doing a very standard physical run Stephen Davis 50 times offense.
Yeah, and if it works, if you have the personnel to do it, you can do it. And the
Right.
Bears have the quarterback as long as he's having a good day. But Matt Forte isn't Stephen Davis at his prime.
No.
And
I don't
so
think
they
anyone
don't
thinks
really.
that.
No, they don't really have the personnel to to do that and be an elite team, which is why they're under 500. 5-8 now.
All right.
Well,
Sean, do you want to right this ship?
no, I think we're going
Sorry.
to a good place. I was just going to say, let's talk a little bit about those adjustments that you mentioned, because it certainly seemed to me like it has several times this season in games. You start out really hot, you score 14 points in that first quarter or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You're off to a great start, and then it's like a general fizzling occurs. So let's talk about that. What did we do so well in the first quarter, and why were we playing so well, and then it sort of stalled again till the end of the game?
Well, I think it was a combination of two things. Like I said in the beginning, our play calling was just was enough different that the Bears weren't really expecting what we were doing. We didn't run the ball particularly well.
We ran it better than we usually do. We were getting 4 plus a carry.
We just had more carries more than anything, and throughout most of the game, we weren't getting 4 yards of carry.
No, I'm talking the
most of
first drive.
Yeah, in the first drive. But the Bears made a lot of penalties. They really killed themselves in that first quarter, particularly with the penalties.
Yep.
So I think it was that we had a little bit more creative game plan, honestly, is what we did right.
Yeah. Well, you saw some things that you didn't normally see, like you saw Alfred Morris get his first touchdown of the season. And then you saw something that you did see, you have seen throughout this year, which is Kirk Cousins on another one of those read options, kind of full the end there and scamper in for a running touchdown. So that was nice to see, too.
We have the best read option quarterback in the game sitting on the bench.
That's right.
Well, it's kind of funny that
he looks good in that tracksuit, though.
Jay and his boyfriend Kirk Cousins run the read option now. It's just kind of hilarious.
It is kind of funny, and
I don't get it.
I mean, but hey, how much can you really criticize him? It's worked before, and it worked again today very well.
Yeah.
That guy totally bit on it.
The big thing is Jay only wants to use it when he's in that kind of red zone situation. He doesn't. You don't see us running read option from our own 25-yard line.
That's true. Every time it seems to be close to like a scoring position.
Yeah.
I want my rant though. Before we keep, I have a rant.
Please,
All right.
please.
I am absolutely sick and to death of seeing this running back by committee thing going on.
Yeah.
It is just utterly ridiculous. Number one, it's not productive. It's not the running back by. It's like the coaches and staff are trying to make the players happy. I swear that must be what it is. Either that or they've got a wheel. With Michael Phillips, the beat writer from the Richmond newspaper, had a term. He said the wheel of running back selection or something like that. It's like that's what they're doing. But the point is, it's not productive.
Yeah.
It really is not productive. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't know why they're doing it. They need to pick Alfred Morris or pick Matt Jones to be the feature back, because neither one of them are doing a very good job at it right now.
No.
Neither one of them are really more productive than the other in any sort of noticeable amount. So, but Morris in particular really needs a head of steam to get going. I think he's kind of shown that. Jones has his moments, but makes big mistakes. So they need to pick a guy, and they need to stick with him, because it's not working, and it's just driving me insane to watch this happen. I hate it.
I'm of a very similar mind to you. Can I also add on to that rant and just say, Matt Jones, I like him. I like Matt Jones. But here's the thing that I see from Matt Jones. Obviously, he has the fumbling has been an issue in the past, but more so today, for example, at one point you see him scampering around. He's trying to get around the edge, around Trent Williams, and whoever Trent Williams is blocking sticks his arm out. just sticks it out. And Matt Jones just nicks the arm, and he goes down like he's been gang tackled by like 3 guys. He goes down a little too easy, and I've actually seen that from both running backs this year, I thought.
Well, for a guy his size, Matt Jones really should be letting that arm grab him so he can dislocate it.
That's right.
You look at Matt Jones and his biceps and like just the way he's built. That is a guy who's built to run over everybody.
That's right.
He should be an Earl Campbell power back, and he doesn't really run like that.
No, he runs like
he has
a small
his
guy.
moments. He has his moments.
Yeah.
Sure.
He'll have like maybe 3 carries a game where he looks like, gosh, this guy ought to be our running back, and then the rest of it, it's I wonder why he's not on the bench.
Well, and
honestly,
I'll tell you, he had a moment actually in this game, not running, but blocking downfield for Jordan Reed.
I know what you're talking about.
I loved. It was Reed caught the ball and got to like the 30, and Matt Jones just came in there, blew up the guy who was trying to tackle Reed, and he got another 5 yards off of it.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful play by Matt Jones.
And it's funny because just like that play, and there was another play where he was blocking on the line, he just kind of threw his body in there. It's like he's willing to sacrifice his body for those blocks, but when he gets the ball in his hands, it's like he gets a little more timid or a little tentative, or I don't know if it's
at
like,
times.
something happens and he either fumbles it or he just goes down a little too easy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He did have some moments where he was running angry today, which is always probably his best move.
Absolutely, and that
He's
last
not
drive
consistent,
there,
though.
getting that first down, I mean, that sealed the game.
He needs to do that throughout the game, not just in one quarter or 1 or 2 drives.
That's right.
And I would really want one of these beat reporters to ask Jay Gruden what he has against Alfred Morris. I really want. I'm just
they
curious.
ask him that every
I really
week,
want to
Steve.
know.
He just don't.
And he
he's
never
never going to answer it. If he did, you would yell at him for telling the truth. Just like he did about RG3.
No, what he did about RG3 was publicly brutalize a player for no reason. You don't do that in public to players. You say, it's a
what do
team
you think
issue.
he's
We have
gonna
to
say about
talk
Alfred
to,
Morris? He's going to say Morris has not been an effective running back. That's why.
Neither has Jones, though.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Neither one of
there's
them
a
have
larger
been good.
issue with the
They
running
all
game,
no.
sure.
They all both of them are averaging less than 4 yards per carry.
Right.
As of going into this game, Morris was at 3.5 yards per carry. Jones is at 3.4. It was a statistical dead heat, basically.
Right.
Neither one of them have been very good. I'm not even saying Morris needs to be getting 30 carries a game. I want them to pick one.
Yeah.
Because the running back by committee thing isn't working, and I'm just curious what Gruden has against Alfred Morris. I really just want to know what it is.
Well, I mean, it's got to be something, because if you just look at the statistics, I mean, again, this year it's like 500 yards, 1 touchdown. At this point last year, he's like twice that. So, something to think about.
I mean, yeah, it is.
And it's a combination of all those things. I wanted to ask you guys about the offensive line, because that today seemed like it wasn't a great protection day. Kirk got, particularly in that first half, it looked like he was getting pushed around a lot. He took a couple sacks. He had to throw sort of on the run, not designed runs or bootlegs. So it didn't seem like a great day for the offensive line. Not all of them can be winners.
Yeah. Sadly, Robbie's not here to give us a real breakdown.
That's right.
No, I mean, but there were 3 sacks, and he took a couple more hits in there on top of that. One of those sacks was on Scherf, I thought. I think Robbie tweeted that one out. It was, Trent didn't. I don't think Trent Williams had a great game, but it looked like most of the pressure for the most part was coming either kind of in the interior of the line. It wasn't coming over Trent's left edge. Trent had
Trent's
that
guy
false.
was getting the better of him a lot of the game.
It was not a good
little
game
bit,
for him.
yeah. It wasn't a good game for him, but the sacks didn't really come over Trent. They came over Scherf on the one, and then the other. Did they? I didn't.
Just one of them. He's like standing there with his arm still around the defender, like half-assed, pretending to block.
The defender just got like one arm out and got it around Kirk, kind of like we were talking about with Jones.
Yeah,
Trent, I can't remember the name. Who's the guy that Trent was blocking all game?
I don't know.
That
That's
guy,
why I was.
Yeah, he's a talent, and he's got that ability to kind of, even when he's being blocked.
I think you're talking about Lamar Houston, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that who it was?
I think it was. I'm not sure. But anyway, Trent had his hands full today.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the Bears' defensive line had a pretty good game.
Yep.
They had 3 sacks. They held the Redskins' running game to less than 100 yards. Our offensive line did not look sharp, generally speaking. And we kind of do need Robbie to tell us specifically what was going on. But it looked like they just got beat a lot more today than they did. And the other thing was Cousins was holding the ball way too long for many of those things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the pro Cousins, anti-Griffin people are not going to mention that, but at least one or two of those sacks.
I'd say
he
two
just
were
held it and
definitely sacks where
Yeah.
either the defenders had just great coverage downfield or he wasn't seeing it.
Well, then you need to throw it away.
Well,
you know, because he just held it and held it and held it.
That's what I was going to ask you guys, because I've got one of those like 1995, like very square TVs, so I can't see downfield, but I'm wondering if it's the secondary coverage was good enough that he had to hold on that long, because I noticed the same thing. It was like he just waited too long. He didn't throw it away, and he took sacks that he didn't need to. But I'm sure it was probably a combination of both, frankly.
I don't think he missed a whole bunch of reads like he did last week.
Yeah.
Last week just wasn't good.
Yeah.
But, I don't think there were too many. He missed Deshaun maybe once, maybe twice on balls that should have been thrown. But I think the Bears just had pretty good coverage for the most part downfield.
Yeah.
I thought. Kirk just needs to throw it away.
Right.
Don't hold it. Just toss the ball out of bounds.
That's right.
You mentioned Deshaun Jackson, so I got to bring this part up really quickly. What was he doing coming back onto the field after he hurt himself?
Why did anybody let him do that? He's limping around. It makes no sense.
He was not able to walk, and somehow he comes back out there. And, I give him a little credit for, having the grit to do it, but
I don't give a shit about grit. I give a shit about the millions that we're paying you and our chances to win next week. I don't care about your grit. Get off the field if you're limping around.
Well, the weird thing is he was on the Redskins sideline, and no one said, no, you stop and throw Grant out there or somebody.
That's right. And keep in mind, too, that he missed. He couldn't make that cut, so he missed that throw from Kirk, which ended the drive, and we had to punt.
Yeah.
You put somebody else out there that can make that. I mean, it wasn't that. Yeah. That was a simple, mid-range out route.
Well, he did have a catch after he got hurt, so, maybe they were thinking it was a mild thing.
Sure.
But at least for a couple plays, he should have been on the sideline there at the end of the third quarter.
I agree completely.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, we've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
2012 comes to mind, where a certain
absolutely.
fast, ultra athletic player played way too long and got hurt, and the same thing could have happened to Deshaun. And who knows what his injury is? He seems to be one of these Ferrari guys. Sort of one little thing falls apart. Bad things happen. But what I noticed about Deshaun is he ran a couple dig routes today. Did you guys notice this? He doesn't usually do that. He ran a post out of the slot, which is right over the middle. He caught a ball in a dig route and got just annihilated by a linebacker. I think it was a linebacker or safety.
It was a safety, I think. You're talking about
it might have been
the end of the game, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's Deshaun over the past about month maybe has become a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He runs the fly pattern, and if we don't do that, we don't see him.
Right.
Right.
Today was the first time I've seen him run a couple other patterns. He's not a one-trick pony in what he can do. He just has been that in the way the team's been using him.
Yeah.
Or at least when they've thrown him the ball that we've noticed.
Well, but remember, they've also not been putting him out there all the time of late because of his health. So that could play in. There's a lot of things that could play into this. They could be thinking with the rain, they can't get the ball deep to him as easily, so maybe they were just trying to get him open in different ways. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean,
I
was
just
with Rashard Ross too. Did you notice that?
Yeah, they were. And by the way, Ryan Grant is not the
No.
is not the replacement for Deshaun Jackson. One of you guys said that. Rashad Ross needs to be Deshaun Jackson's replacement.
I think
Anybody
I
that can
said
make it.
Grant might be a replacement for Garcon because he's a route guy. He's not a.
Yeah. Rashad Ross is the guy with the speed.
Yeah.
He didn't have Jackson's speed, but he's got a lot of speed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, be that as it may, all my point is I was glad to see Deshaun catch the ball on a couple of different routes. Mm-hmm. If nothing else, it shows the other teams that we're willing to use him in a little bit different way than we have been.
Yep.
It just can't all be a 9 route. Every time we go to him, it's a 9 route.
Yep.
That's not good.
Another guy on offense to mention would obviously be Mr. Reed, up over 100 yards for the day, 6 or 7 catches. Actually, but by the end of the game, 9 catches. Yeah, it was more than that. So definitely deserving of a shout out there. Great day for him.
Great day. Well, let's
Aggressive
do.
after the
You
catch.
want to hear some offensive stats real fast? I'll do both of them. Kirk Cousins, 24-31 for 300 yards, 9.7 yards average, one TD, one interception, 3 sacks. Matt Jones, 18 carries, 62 yards, 3.4 yard average. The forgotten man, Alfred Morris, 11 carries, 24 yards, 2.2 yards per carry. Yeah, like you said, Jordan Reed, player of the game, I think.
I think
9 receptions, 120.
Yeah.
He had 9 receptions, 120 yards, 13.3 yard average, 1 touchdown. Pierre Garcon, 5 catches, 52 yards. Sean had 2 catches, 43 yards. It goes down from there. That's offense.
Yep.
And
I think it sounds like a solid game for us, more or less, statistically.
Well, it just goes to show how valuable Jordan Reed really is.
Yep.
This team is just not the same without him, and he's just such a mismatch. Never was that ever shown. There was one play, I guess, a third quarter. I think he ran what I think was a slant route right up the seam, catches the ball, and he ended up with about 7 Bears trailing him, and somehow none of them could catch him. or get him down, and he got about 10 extra yards there.
Yeah, that was a good
with
play.
half of the Bears defense, literally half of the Bears defense hanging all over him.
And the announcers were saying it, so it's kind of obvious to everybody now. But he was playing after he got the ball in his hands. He was running with extra, aggression today.
Yeah, they were giving him props for that.
Yeah.
Well, I got to give him props also. He hasn't really suffered the season-ending injury.
That's right.
He's been a little bit
He's healthy
banged up
this year.
here and there. Yeah. What, did he miss a game? He might have missed a game early in the season, didn't he?
At least one,
more or less. Yeah. But he's basically been healthy, which has been the big criticism.
And
Absolutely.
And just for the record, I do think that non-touchdown he had was a touchdown.
Yeah,
Called back.
It's hard to tell.
No big deal.
Yeah,
Alfred
it's
got
hard
his
to argue.
touchdown for it, so that works out well as a fan.
It was hard to argue one way or another.
Yeah.
I thought I couldn't really tell, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. I thought Alfred's touchdown might have been closer than Reed's touchdown. Honestly,
Maybe.
They both were super close.
they were both squeakers.
But it was definitely good to see Alfred get a touchdown out of that, though.
Absolutely.
Thank goodness.
So, not to bring down the parade. I mean, I think we all pretty much agree that it was a good enough day on offense. Maybe not our best, but they did enough. We should mention just for fairness sakes, Kirk's interception. Anything you saw on that was particularly alarming? We haven't seen one of those in a couple weeks.
Well, yeah, I saw that, and I couldn't decide at first if Cousins didn't see the defender,
right,
or if it was just a god awful pass, or both.
It looked out of place. It was not a contested.
The ball was a very bad throw. No matter what, it was an absolute rainbow duck.
Well, if he didn't see the defender, it makes a little sense because it would have hit the receiver.
Well, it was a horrible pass.
Yeah,
it was a terrible pass. I just have to think he didn't see the defender, but we really probably need to see the all 22 to see what happened there. But that was it was even if he saw it was the pass was the worst thing.
Yeah, I think
the pass was just awful.
I'm sure Cousins is being asked about it right now in his interviews.
Probably,
but, yeah. We'll find out. I'm sure they'll be very honest and say, "Well, this is what we missed."
Before switching over to defense, which we have a couple things to mention there, which we can do. But we've got to mention the Frankenstein play, as I like to call it, which is that weird Matt Jones attempted catch, or Jordan Reed attempted catch out of his hands. Matt Jones catch it, sits down, it gets knocked out of his hands, and then knocked back into his hands. Weird play.
It did not get knocked out of his hands.
It did not see.
I
lost track of what's happening.
He casually tossed the ball aside.
Yeah, he let it roll.
A celebratory thing.
It's got to be one of two things. He thought he was down because a Redskins player comes up and touches him on the back. Right. He must have thought it was a Bears
down
player
by contact, sure.
And was like, okay. Or he forgot that he's in the NFL and not in college. In the NFL, he'd be down because he, had the ball and was on the ground.
Yeah, that's only the end of the play, though. I think this is a play where the football gods were shining on us, basically. Yeah. It was a play that
definitely.
The ball should never have been thrown there. Mm-hmm. We got really lucky. Thank God it was a completion. Yeah. I would have taken an incompletion at that point because that was an across-the-body rainbow duck into triple coverage. with a guy who, while Jordan Reed is a mismatch, he's not a mismatch on leaping ability.
Right.
It was just an up for grabs. We got really, really lucky, and then the football gods shine on us, and the ball happens to fall directly into Matt Jones's hands.
Well, I don't think
that's
it's
the kind
a
of thing
happens to. I think Matt Jones had good awareness to get downfield.
Oh,
there.
it was well, of course, but it was just incredibly lucky.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of luck involved.
Oh yeah. It was just very lucky. And
if it wasn't for the fumble, we'd probably be calling it the play of the game.
Well, I don't think they ruled it a fumble. They didn't rule that a fumble. The NFL didn't. I don't believe.
Not officially, but I mean, he threw the fucking ball down.
It was a dumb play, but that part was dumb by Jones. But the bigger issue was that, because it worked, it was a great play. But if it hadn't worked, it would have been an incredibly stupid play.
Yeah, right.
We just got, all you can say is sometimes it's football.
Yep.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Two things rolled our way this game: that and the missed field goal, and that wins.
That's right.
That kind of reminded me of that sort of fortune and luck. Reminded me of 2012 when Griffin scrambled all the way down the field. I can't remember what game it was. He was running down the field and he fumbled the ball, and the ball bounced directly into Andre Roberts' hand.
Yeah,
no,
I
it wasn't
that
Deshaun.
play.
It was Andre Roberts.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. Was it Roberts?
No, it was
I can't remember.
Garcon. That's the only guy.
Garcon fell on it in the end zone. That's what you're talking about.
We all know what you're talking about. I don't remember who the receiver was.
I can't remember the receiver, but that was a play where that could have been a disaster, and it just the football gods shine on us, and that was what happened today.
Just how they drew it up.
Weird read thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what we meant to do was have the defender bat the ball down on a poorly thrown ball into coverage and have it bounce directly into the running back's hands.
That's right.
And then just to tease the Bears, we want them to toss the ball aside casually, like it was nothing.
See,
that is the way it was drawn
plays,
up.
He's not doing it on two-dimensional, chalkboards. He's doing 3D plays where the ball's bounced.
That's creativity at its best, people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Creativity at its best.
All right, well, let's switch over from offense, then let's talk a little defensive stuff. Not as good a showing in terms of pressure on the quarterback. I feel like we should start maybe defensive line. Kerrigan had a nice sack that he celebrated and then promptly did nothing, it looked like, for the vast majority of the rest of the game. Neither did anybody else, and it seemed like Cutler had plenty of time to make his throws and reads.
I don't know about
Terrence
that.
Knighton had a
We got
sack.
3 sacks on the day. That's not terrible.
Did we get 3? Wow.
Yeah, Kerrigan, Murphy had the sack fumble, and then Potrose had that one where he just, piled right onto Cutler.
I forgot about Murphy's, too. That was nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
You hate white linebackers, don't you, Sean?
I love the man. Don't put hate in my soul. I love him. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more coming from the perspective of you're up 14 points, then the offense fizzles, then you allow them to march all the way back. They stay neck and neck with us essentially for the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they had some plays deep to Alshon Jeffrey and a couple other nice ones.
Yeah.
Bad tackling on our part, and again, I guess we got a couple sacks, but not consistent enough pressure, I would say.
I'm going to be really interested to see who kind of has to take the fall for that Alshon Jeffrey 50-yard pass.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Is that? I mean, they started targeting Blackman and became a very effective offense all of a sudden. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that.
Yeah,
but the Jeffrey might have been on. Not. Why am I going? 47. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Dunbar or Blackman? I always forget.
Dunbar. That's who.
Blackman is 41.
41.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it might have been Dunbar blowing his assignment on that deep ball to Jeffrey. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, Alshon Jeffrey could have really had a big game.
He kind of did.
He kind of did. That guy was a mismatch for our secondary, and I think we got really lucky he didn't burn us more than he did. He's one of those physical freak guys, and Breland and a couple other guys kind of played him well, I thought.
Yeah.
But that had a potential of really hurting him, or that he had the potential of really hurting us, and we were kind of fortunate that it didn't happen. Specifically on that, on the decisive fade pattern into the end zone that Cutler threw, you could tell immediately that he really trusts Jeffrey, and he just kind of threw it up there and hoped that Jeffrey was going to get it. And it just didn't work out. I thought Breland made a really physical play. But it's obvious that they're used to having him be a physical mismatch. Mm-hmm. And we did a good job of not letting that decide the game for us.
Yeah.
We talked about it in our pre-game show. They have some good weapons on that offense. And we kind of I think, Jeffrey got his, Zach Miller got his, but, I think we did a pretty good job keeping some very talented receivers in check, all in all. Not
Zach
great,
Miller's kind of a mismatch, too. Because I thought Mason couldn't really cover Zach Miller more than once. And he got his too.
No,
like I said, I mean, the Bears really shot themselves in the foot on offense with all those penalties. They really did.
Yeah.
And we'll go over some Bears stats too, since we were talking about this. Alshon Jeffrey had 6 receptions, 107 yards, 1 touchdown, the long of 50 on that play. Zach Miller, 5 catches, 85 yards for 17 yards per catch. So yeah, they did their damage.
Yep.
Yeah, and Miller had the touchdown, and Forte had their other touchdown, right?
Yeah.
So that's the 3 of them.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those are guys that typically would have burned us in years past. Alshon Jeffrey would have blown us up in years past. I know 100 yards is still a great game, but I think...
Well, yeah, he did burn us, but it just didn't decide the game.
Right. We stopped the bleeding enough to survive through this one.
Well, just think about how fortunate we are to have Bashaud Breeland healthy.
Yeah.
Because years past, like you said, that fade pattern would have been touchdown, game over.
Mm-hmm.
It was only because he was able to stick with him and play physical with him there in the end zone that didn't decide the game.
And he nearly had a
so
pick.
That was kind of, yeah. I mean, it was hard to tell. Both of them kind of dropped the ball. Neither one of them had by the letter of the NFL's reception rule. Which is just dumb beyond all comprehension. It wasn't a reception, but he could have had a pick, yeah.
It was
kind of hard to tell which one of them came down with it, from the angle of the camera that I saw.
Yeah.
You're talking about that end zone play?
Mm-hmm.
The fade pattern on the last drive, yeah.
Very close.
Injuries? I don't know if we don't have any update. Derek Carrier, right knee sprain.
Out early.
We know about the D-Jax injury. Moses was evaluated for a concussion but came back into the game, so I'm assuming he's, I guess, fine. Other than that, I think we survived. Deshaun Golson was banged up at one point. Breeland had a lower calf thing he was working on at one point.
And that had me holding my breath, the Breeland down on the field for a moment.
Yeah, when he took what looked to be a helmet to the thigh or knee or something.
And those can be devastating.
It was a friendly fire. It looked like it was a Redskin defender.
It was
hit him
Jarrett,
right
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we aside from Carrier, why are we only dressing 2 tight ends? Will somebody answer this?
Because we don't have 3 that we trust.
Well, I mean, throw Ham out there. Let's see what the man can do. I mean, he's got to
generally
be better
agree
than
with
Tom
that,
Compton as
I'm
tight
just saying,
end.
they don't trust him yet.
Right, like we've said about other players in the past, if this administration isn't giving you the go-ahead, I feel like you must have some serious playing flaws in your game.
Yeah.
Particularly in light of how many injuries we've had in the tight end ranks. We lose all these guys, and you still can't get on the field. It makes me wonder.
Yeah, it's a little worrying.
Doesn't surprise me at all that nobody would be better than somebody, especially with this team.
Yep.
Well, if you're a legitimate NFL tight end and you're beat out by an offensive tackle for the tight end position, that ought to tell you something about your future with the team.
Right.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe so. It could also be with Ham. He's a rookie. They don't, they'll season him. Maybe he'll improve. We have a long way to go before we decide next year's roster, so let's not get into that.
That's right.
No. Yeah, certainly.
Plus, we have a slew of injured guys coming back supposedly next year, so we'll see.
It's going to be interesting.
So what else on defense? Is there anything else we want to go over? I mean, it was a pretty there were no flashy super plays on defense, but they did enough. Damn it, they did enough.
Well, yeah, we do have something to say on defense. Go to it. Our run defense was good for once.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the Bears should have used Matt Forte a lot more than they did because he was averaging 4.5 yards a carry. He's getting some good production right inside, not on the edges, but right up the A gap. He was doing pretty well. So I don't know how he managed to not get more carries. But the bottom line is, no matter what, the Redskins only gave up 87 yards on 22 carries for 4 yards per carry, which for us is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had that one drive when we were when they had short yardage after the Kirk interception that Forte ran really well, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and you've got victory in
like
sight in a short drive like that,
Yeah.
so just pound it in.
Because it's been a weakness all year for us, and you got to give our capital punishment or whatever they call themselves. Props for holding keeping Matt Forte from looking like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think the D-line, even though they weren't great, they did a pretty good job at times getting Cutler off his mark, which, that's part of what you want to do. It's not getting a sack or, making him completely uncomfortable, but it was something. So
yeah, listen, Jay had a 117 rating, but he's a good quarterback, though. He's an elite quarterback.
When he's on, and he was actually on for most of the game.
He was.
He is so like Eli Manning-esque in a lot of ways.
That's a good way to put it.
He can be ice cold and volcanic lava hot at the same time. I actually really like Jay Cutler. I have never seen someone throw a football like a single throw that I saw Jay Cutler throw once, which was like a laser the entire length of the field, essentially.
He's got a gun.
It's a gun. It's a cannon. But yeah, sometimes he puts up games that are just like, have you scratching your head, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, he didn't do that this week, I feel like. I think
Correct.
We actually kind of beat good Jay Cutler, which is nice.
Correct.
The only issue I had with the defense is, again, when we have a lead, we go with these soft zone defenses where we're not playing physical against their receivers, and it ends up costing us. And I wish they would stop it. Robbie has explained it repeatedly to me. I just don't accept his reasoning. Stop doing that.
Well,
I'm
it's Joe Barry's defense. And we didn't stay in cover 3 all game. They went from between cover 2 and cover 3.
Yeah.
Kind of in and out of it. But Jay Cutler was just picking them apart, sort of no matter what.
Yeah. But I'm talking more just your soft zone stuff. I don't like soft zone.
Well, they didn't play soft zone the entire time either. They did play up at the line of scrimmage on more than one pass play.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a soft zone this time. Cutler just kind of had a pretty good game in terms of passing. He lost the game. We won.
Yeah,
but, passing, he looked pretty good despite, I thought was a more inventive pass defense than we have shown in the past.
Yeah, but we know that Barry's oriented that way towards the cover 3 and the soft defense. So, who is to say if he wasn't slightly more aggressive, this couldn't have even been I shouldn't say that because this is, I feel like, one of the best our defenses has been in a while. In terms of pure points scored, I don't know if it pans out that way, but I think this is actually one of the more cohesive, competent defensive units this team has seen in many years.
They're not giving up just death plays. The 60-yard.
It's better than Hazlitt.
The past couple years under Hazlitt, it was so. bad.
Like that Colts game last year where the Colts tight end was just running by himself down the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kobe Fleener.
God, that was ugly.
They have corrected those problems, and I give a lot of credit to Deshaun Goldson because he's the guy who's kind of directing traffic back there at the free safety position, and they've eliminated that.
Yeah,
I've told people all week, the real big improvement on this team this year really and truly has been the defensive secondary.
Yep.
That's right.
It has.
And if they can keep us in the game by not giving up those type of plays.
It's not a finished project, but it's getting
No.
They need to add a few more pieces, I feel like, for depth and overall quality, but they're getting there.
That's right. So hopefully we can keep up this trend next week against Buffalo. December 20th, we get another 1 o'clock game away, so hopefully we can string together 2 wins here. Oh, my God, guys, should I even say that? Did I just jinx it from happening?
Don't jinx this.
Okay, yeah, you're right. There's no hope. We have no hope in this game.
We'll worry about Buffalo on Tuesday. Let's just celebrate today.
Yeah, so good job today, guys, doing what you had to do. You got your first fucking road win. It's so depressing that we are the last team to accomplish that in the NFL. That is so sad.
It came at the right time.
Yeah,
so
when we needed it the most.
I
Right?
said it in the game preview. This was the Waterloo week. We lose today, and it would have been over.
Because last week was, you're right, because last week's so demoralizing. You need a win this week to pick things up and keep momentum going.
We did our best to try and give the game away, but they were fortunate enough to a combination of Bears mistakes and just enough play there at the end of the game. To keep the Bears offense back off the field made the difference.
Yep.
A bad Robbie Gould field goal, Bears mistakes, and enough running in the last drive, sealed their fate.
That's right.
So I'll take it. All things considered, I'll take it.
We will hand Robbie Gould the Billy Cundiff Award for Excellency in Kicking for this week.
You want to do real quick players of the game? Because I know we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you're gonna go first, Sean. You weren't here last time.
All right, players of the game. Well, I tipped my hat to this earlier. Offensively, I'm gonna have to give it to Mr. Jordan Reed for obvious reasons. Up over 100 yards, The dude's a beast. I love him. It's so much better when he's out there. Defensively, a little bit tougher. I might have to go with... Who gets it on defense today, guys? It might be Breland. Only other people to call out would be one of these guys on the line who got one of these sacks. But I'll go with the secondary because I think the secondary stepped up more today. Right. So secondary generally is a unit, but I'm going to give it to Bashad.
All right. I actually, I usually try and pick different people than everyone else just to, change it up. But I can't do that this week. I think I'm with you on both those. Jordan Reed just had a monster game. He was our clear best weapon throughout the entire day. And then Rashad Breeland had just a couple breakups when we needed them. Generally speaking, I don't think he got beat very often, if at all. So those would be my two guys too. Yeah,
my two guys, Jordan Reed, Rashad Breeland.
There we go.
Yeah,
sweet.
I hate to copy you guys, but it's I don't think Alshon Jeffrey had a big game.
Yeah,
but the point is Breeland made.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to give a
plays
guy
weren't
a
against
ball.
Breeland, though. They were against.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes you just got to give a guy the ball when he made the key play.
Yeah.
And the key play of the game was the fade pattern in the end zone, and Breeland did it. And sometimes he just deserved a game ball for that because in years past that would have been touchdown the end. And it's just no question on offense. Jordan Reed.
Yeah. Oh,
he had incredible. Yeah, no doubt.
All right.
Beautiful. Well, like we said, we've got Buffalo up next week. And let's see, before we go, we'll just give a quick update here. At the time of this recording, the Packers are up on the Cowboys, 7-0 right now. So that's a good sign.
Fingers crossed.
Keep your eyes peeled and attached to those NFC East matchups through the week. We've got New York's playing tomorrow, so make sure to be on the lookout for that. And we have a special announcement as well in terms of a new guest. Alex, why don't you fill us in on what's going on in our future here?
Actually, I announced it last week, Sean, but we will re-announce it.
Do it again.
Danny Rouillet is going to be on our show this coming week.
That's an awesome one.
Scheduled a couple times because of Star Wars, but that worked out well. I saw him at the DC Improv last night. He was very, very funny.
Oh, that was last night.
He used so many bad words that I just love to hear people use, and had so many funny jokes. He had me laughing to the point where I was having trouble breathing last night.
Is his stand-up a lot different than his radio persona, or is it the same personality?
It's a little different.
It's a little different?
There's shades of both in there. That's one of the things I'd really love to talk to him about, too.
Nice.
Just being a comedian and doing
we're
sports.
a football show, not a comedian show.
No, but it's very interesting. You don't see many comedians who do sports. So,
right.
I'd love to talk to him about that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, who was the gigantic fat guy that did the show with Jason Reed on 980? He was a comedian.
Yeah, that's true.
What was his name?
Well, that's a loose definition of comedian, if you ask me.
I thought he was
You might be giving him too much credit.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, maybe so.
All right. Yeah, but I'm so excited to have him on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge one for us.
Excited about your, NFL players, former Super Bowl winners and stuff like that. I'm going to get excited about getting the midday talk show hosts.
That's right. Hey, these guys are moving on up. If you haven't recalled, you're seeing Grant Paulson on the sidelines at Redskins games a lot more, and he does the show with Danny. So these guys are moving up. This is a huge get for us, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very exciting.
I can't wait to have him on.
Cool. Yeah. So throughout the week, like we said, keep your eyes on those matchups, keep watching football, and keep checking our website for written content. It's thehogsty.com. We will see you next week for the Bill. Actually, we'll see you in a couple days for the Bills game preview, so be sure to check in for that.
Yes.
We'll see you then. Take care.
Peace.
Hasta la vista.